Some nights, the house is so quiet it feels like it's pressing down on my chest. I sit in my chair and listen for sounds that never come. And that's when it hurts the most, when I remember how full this house used to be, and how empty I was allowed to become inside it. I'm not telling this story because I want sympathy. I'm telling it because keeping it inside has started to feel heavier than the truth itself. I am 72 years old. I've lived in the same small house in Ohio for almost 40 years. I raised 2 children here. I buried my husband from this place. I thought this house knew me. I thought my family did too. After my husband passed, the silence came slowly. At first, it was just quieter mornings. Then fewer phone calls. Then whole days where no one said my name out loud. My son, Daniel, convinced me to move in with him and his wife after I had a bad fall. He said it would be temporary. Just until I was steady again. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to leave my chair by the window, or my neighbor, who waved every morning. But I was tired, and I trusted my child. That was my first mistake. At Daniel's house, I wasn't a mother anymore. I wasn't even a guest. I became something in the way. Something that needed managing. At first, they were polite. Overly polite. The kind where smiles don't reach the eyes. My daughter-in-law, Melissa, would say things like, "We usually eat later, when dinner was already done." Or, "You probably wouldn't like this," before I even spoke. I started eating alone in the kitchen while they ate in the living room. No one told me to. It just happened. Daniel stopped asking how I slept. He stopped noticing when I stayed in my room all day. When I spoke, he nodded, distracted, already somewhere else in his mind. I told myself this was normal. People are busy. Life moves on. Old people slow it down. What I didn't expect was how invisible I would feel while standing right in front of them. One afternoon, I overheard Melissa on the phone. I wasn't trying to listen. I was folding my sweater on the couch. "She's not sick," she said. "She's just old." And dramatic. I remember standing there, holding that sweater, wondering how a word like old could sound so sharp. After that, things changed. Or maybe I just started seeing them clearly. They stopped including me in plans. They stopped telling me when they'd be out late. Sometimes they forgot to tell me at all, and I'd sit by the window waiting, my dinner cold, my worry hot and heavy in my chest. I stopped calling friends. I didn't want to explain. I didn't want to admit that my own family made me feel like a burden. At night, I lay awake listening to the refrigerator hum, wondering how a woman who raised children, paid bills, worked her whole life, could end up feeling like excess weight. One day, I tried to talk to Daniel. I told him I felt lonely. I told him I felt like I didn't belong. He sighed. Not loudly. Just enough. "Mom," he said, "you're overthinking everything." That sentence settled into me like dust. Quiet. Final. After that, I learned to stay quiet too. I learned where to sit so I wouldn't be in the way. I learned which floorboards creaked and which didn't. I learned how to cry without making noise. Months passed. Maybe longer. Time feels different when nothing changes. Then came the day I realized they had moved on without me entirely. I was sitting at the kitchen table when I saw papers on the counter. Mortgage documents. My name wasn't on them. My address was. They were refinancing my house. The one I still owned. The one I was supposed to return to. When I asked Melissa about it, she didn't even look embarrassed. We thought it made sense, she said. You're here now. And honestly, managing two places is unnecessary. She said it like she was doing me a favor. That night, I packed a small bag. Just clothes. Just memories I could carry. Daniel didn't stop me. He hugged me, awkwardly, like I was a relative he barely knew. I took a bus back to my house. It smelled stale. Dusty. Lonely. But it was mine. I sat in my old chair by the window and cried until my chest hurt. Not loud. Just enough to remind myself I was still here. I tried calling Daniel after that. A few times. Then fewer. Then not at all. Weeks went by. Holidays passed quietly. No cards. No calls. I started talking to myself. Not because I was losing my mind, but because silence felt dangerous. One evening, I fell again. Not badly, but enough to scare me. I sat on the floor for a long time, wondering how long it would take for someone to notice if I didn't get up. No one did. That's when it hit me, the hardest truth I've ever had to accept. I wasn't missed. Not in the way I thought a mother would be. I'm still here. I wake up. I make tea. I sit by the window. Sometimes I imagine Daniel driving past and not looking at the house. Sometimes I imagine Melissa saying my name, just once, without irritation. But mostly, I imagine the woman I used to be. The one who mattered. Aging doesn't hurt the way people think. It's not the body. It's the quiet way you disappear while still breathing. And once you realize that, there's no going back.